everyone.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Susie.
And you're listening to the Gilmore Gab. We are the Gilmore Gab. And this is episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Max Medina.
Yeah, we're still talking about Lorelai's guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Obviously. So yeah, with the Max.
Max.
Mm-hmm.
Love him, hate him.
Okay, we've talked about this off the podcast a little bit. I first saw Scott Cohen, who plays Max Medina, on 10th Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the big bad wolf.
He's Wolfie.
He's Wolfie.
Which cracks me up every time.
And I remember being slightly uncomfortable by him by the end of that show.
Mm-hmm.
So when he showed up on Gilmore Girls, all I could see was Wolfie. So I have always had a slightly tainted view of Max Medina. However, I was able to set it aside. And the first time I really watched Gilmore Girls, I liked him. And I felt bad for him for what Lorelai does to him. But on this most recent rewatch, I don't really like him.
Okay. And I'm the reverse. I saw him on Gilmore Girls before I ever came across 10th Kingdom. We're talking like probably 10 years before I ever saw 10th Kingdom. And so, but I felt the same way. Like Wolfie, the character, very awkward and made me very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I was like, this is really weird. And also that's Max Medina. And it's funny because in this most recent rewatch for me, I remember texting you right as I got into the Max episodes and being like, why is Max not Endgame? I really like Max. Later I come to like conclusions of why. No, Max is not Endgame.
Yeah.
But of all of them, we're disregarding Luke for now.
Yeah.
He's definitely, that's why he's where he is in our podcast, because he is not the worst.
No,
he's kind just of in not the best. Yeah.
He's kind of in the middle. Really, because it goes like Christopher, Digger, and then Max, and then Alex, and then Luke.
And then Luke, yeah.
Yeah, so he really is like right in the middle, which I feel like that's a good place for him because like he's not the worst, but he's not the best either. And I feel like I feel like he was trying too hard to push the relationship. And like, because if you're just fighting with someone, that you don't suggest marriage.
But like that's a trend when it comes to the guys for Lorelai, with the exception of Luke.
Yeah.
Like how many times did Chris try to like resolve their problems? Well, let's just get together. Let's just get married. Digger was kind of the same way. It doesn't matter. I'm suing your dad. Let's just be together.
Yeah.
Or let's be together so that I can have the business thing I want with your dad, except for Alex. Alex wasn't like that at all.
Alex was not like that. I feel like Max, though, that's why Alex was at the top of the list.
Yes, we just talked about him last episode because we thought we had less to say about Digger.
Yeah, which turns out we didn't, but that's okay. But Max, here's the thing. Max is like, he really is like middle ground because he does some good things. He also does some bad things. And like at the end of the day, like, I mean, I don't think it would have been the worst if she would have ended up with him. I don't think they would have been happy long term.
No. Honestly, I'm still kind of stuck, and we might have talked about this in the Lorelai episode. I don't remember. It was a really long time ago. But I remember just being kind of like confused by Lorelai choosing to date him.
Yeah.
Because when she first gets Rory to Chilton and she's around a lot, there's a Chilton dad that hits on her. And she's like, oh, but you're a Chilton dad. I can't date a Chilton dad because my kid goes to Chilton. But you can date a Chilton teacher?
And like a teacher who like brings up his relationship with you in front of her class.
And like actively sees your daughter.
And they kiss in her school because students see it and Rory finds out from other students that they kissed in his classroom.
Well, that's because Paris is... Anyway.
Paris. But still, regardless, like there is a line that you should definitely draw if you're going to pursue a relationship like that. And it's like they didn't even try to, well, Lorelai tried to build those walls and create those lines, and Max kind of pushed her over the lines.
He really did, which is interesting because I didn't feel like Max came off as this guy that felt like he was entitled to a person. But then I'm looking at my notes. That's what I was scrolling through. And it's like, imagine feeling entitled to another person's love. And I don't know who that note was for because it comes right after a note about Christopher being in town and right before my Rory runaway counter. And then right after that is Max and Luke. So it's either nothing to do. It might actually be a Dean thing, but
honestly, but okay. But like Max and Dean, because they happened concurrently.
Yes.
And maybe that's why I liked Max at first, because I liked Dean at first too. And on this last viewing, I really didn't like either him or Max. And I think just because like Max is so presumptive.
Yeah.
And I mean, but also it goes both ways because like Lorelai, because like he does have a point that like he's like, we're getting married in a week. I don't have a key to your house. You told me I'm not going to be parenting Rory at all because she's basically done growing up. And I'm like, she's 16, like barely 16. But like how compartmented Lorelai was keeping her life, and Max, he was over in this compartment, and Rory is over here, and her life is kind of in between.
Yeah, I think you're right about the parallel though between like Max and Dean because pretentious book. Yeah, she got a Proust book from him.
Yeah,
from Max, and like I don't know, like it's hard because Max is one you remember for like certain reasons, but otherwise I kind of draw a blank about that whole thing. Yeah, like I remember him being kind of pushy about the relationship. And then Lorelai caving. And then I remember like him being a little either too closed off or too open about his relationship while talking to Rory. Yeah. I remember it being like, Rory's like, what do we do? How do I talk to you when you're in my house and not my teacher? But like Rory was pretty chill with it after the initial, you're dating my teacher. Yeah. And which says a lot, I think, about Max. That like, because I don't think most kids would be chill with their parents dating a teacher.
I agree. And also, you can't wait until he's no longer her teacher. Like, I mean, just...
But he was her teacher for a lot of Chilton, I feel like.
He was. Well, okay.
Because wasn't there like a summer between them not getting married and then like another Chilton year and she was still seeing him at the school?
Yeah, she saw him. So like they run away at the end of season 1. Right. And they go to Harvard. Right. And then they come back and he is still a teacher there because she has to interview him because Paris is trying to like throw her under the bus.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't that she was, but she still had to see him.
But it's like the next school year. But then he disappears shortly after that, and it's because he was on loan to Stanford. Yeah. And so I think there is a few episodes of season 2 where he is still in it, and then he kind of disappears.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the whole thing is interesting though. I think if we look at it from Rory's perspective, and I think that's why I like Max, is because out of all the guys, even Christopher included, with the exception of Luke. Yeah. Max and Rory had a really good relationship, and Rory didn't have a problem with him. And when she interviewed him for the paper, she's like, off the record, I'm sorry. And I really wish it would have worked out. Like, I liked you.
Well, she even says, I wish you would have been my stepdad. And he says, I wish I would have been your stepdad too.
And that's, I think Max is just awkward. I think this actor is pegged for awkward roles.
He's really good at being awkward. He's also really good at being like awkward to villain, because I've seen a few TV shows where he's on like a one-off where you don't know who's the good guy and who's the villain, and so you think he's just the awkward good guy, and then he ends up being like the villain. And he does that really good. I'm thinking of like an episode, what show is it? I think it's White Collar or something like that. I can't remember exactly. No, I think it's Person of Interest. That's yes.
I've seen both of those shows. I do not remember Max.
Because Person of Interest, like the whole, like each episode, you're just given a person that's thrown into a possible deadly situation, but that's been pre-planned, and you don't know who planned it and who is the victim. And Scott Cohen, he's playing the victim really well at first, and then you find out he's the villain. So if you haven't watched Person of Interest and now you watch it, and Scott Cohen shows up, sorry that I just ruined that for you, but also it's been 20 years and you should have watched it by now. So
fair.
There's a statute of limitations on spoilers.
True.
But he does such a good job on that episode of being a villain. So, I mean, as an actor, I feel like he is very well-rounded. But like as Max Medina, I think he was well-rounded as Max too. Because I don't hate him.
No. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with, he was very like, despite the fact that like Lorelai and Max were in their 30s, something about that relationship was a little bit like young lovey. Yeah. And like the way he is when they come back, like he comes back or whatever, and she tries to go see him, and he's like trying to keep furniture between them, was very awkward and cute and endearing. But then you get mad about like, they're not getting along, they're not on the same page. And so he's like, let's just get married. Yeah. Why is that your answer?
Like, marriage is hard enough. Okay, this coming from someone who is not married and hasn't ever been married. But like, there's also a reason. Like, I've seen so many people just get married for, either
to solve a problem.
To solve a problem for the sake of being married, because they don't want to be alone, because they're feeling like they're getting old and should just get married. Like, none of these are reasons to get married, because it just complicates the relationship. It just complicates things even further. Like, from what I have seen, marriage is hard enough when you do like each other and you get married because you genuinely want to be together.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I will say though, but then you go from that moment of being like, why are you trying to use marriage to solve a problem, to her being like, that's not how you propose. And then there's, quote, 1,000 yellow daisies in the inn, which everyone wants to throw a fit about this. This is my defense to that. I know that they said it would have looked silly with just 1,000 individual daisies, because 1,000 individual daisies isn't a lot. That's why they did a bunch. But like, nobody said it had to be 1,000 individual daisies. Yeah. It could have been 1,000 bunches of daisies.
It's true. The term was 1,000 yellow daisies. You can interpret that however you want.
Yes. So, and I do think that, like, as much as I am not a fan of having to tell the guy what I want, in that moment, Max was like, no, you're right. I shouldn't have just said, let's just get married when we were fighting. Here's your 1,000 yellow daisies, you know.
I appreciate the effort, which is why I do like Max. Because, like, he did put in effort. He did try. Like,
I think Max feels like the kind of person who's never really dated anyone before.
Yes.
And I think that's where the awkwardness comes from, and why it was hard for that relationship to work, because Lorelai's dated a lot of people and is in a lot of like not like a lot, but she's dated in general a lot, and the on again, off again with Christopher, and the you know, all of the weird things she's been through, and the not really a relationship, but everybody around her knows it's a relationship with Luke.
Yeah.
Even when they first meet Max.
But I think also Lorelai has dated a lot, but I feel like she's dated shallow, because until Max, he was the first boyfriend that Rory meets. And not just because he's her teacher, but like, that's the first time Lorelai's relationships have overlapped with Rory.
And she makes a big stink about that too.
Yes. Which means that, like, that's a huge deal, for one, because that means that in 16 years, she's not been in a committed enough relationship to introduce her daughter to anybody.
Or Lorelai, because I think people don't give Lorelai enough credit, and we've talked about this before. In both that I think Lorelai sabotages herself.
Yes.
But I also think Lorelai is smart enough to know that the guys she's dating probably aren't long-term or up to par, and she wasn't going to put her kid through that. And I think that is also a testament to Max of, like, I think for a moment, Lorelai really did believe that Max was a long-term option.
I think more than a minute. I think that, like, she was sold on the idea, and like, that's why she did plan the wedding, and like, she was going to go through with it. I think until it finally sunk in on her, wait, is this actually what I want?
Well, and I think there was a moment of self-sabotage at her bachelor party.
Yes.
When she let everybody's stories get to her, which let's just preface this by saying everybody's experience is different. I sure as heck did not put on my wedding dress at night and twirl around in it before I got married.
I have no desire to ever do that.
Like, I loved my wedding dress. I think how things planned out to finding that wedding dress was perfection.
Yeah.
But I wore it for my alterations. I wore it to my wedding. And it has not come out of the box since. It hasn't even been dry cleaned, and I'm pretty sure it still has black cake frosting on the back of it, where my husband accidentally got frosting on the back of my dress. So, and I'm gonna end up altering it to be a little like baptism dress for my kid. Like, but so, like, that's so sweet for Emily to say that, and like, that was a nice humanizing moment for Emily.
That's also a very Emily thing to do.
Yes. But like, for Lorelai to like internalize that and be like, I don't want to twirl around in my wedding dress. Yeah, neither did I. Like,
and she doesn't ever want to do that when she's planning on marrying Luke either.
You know, and then she goes and calls Christopher. That was the self-sabotage moment.
Yes.
She called Christopher and she told him that she was at her bachelorette party. It was almost like she was daring him to talk her out of it.
Yes. Because he's the only one that would.
And then that gets addressed later when they eventually do get together. And she's like, but when she says that, you were always you were always there, the whole Cheery thing. And it's evident throughout. But I think the other thing that really was the kicker was, whether she wanted to admit it or not, Luke.
Yeah.
And when he made that chuppah, and she had to see it every day. I think at a certain point she was like, I've self-sabotaged. I'm internalizing everybody else's experience. And now this man that everybody thinks I am in love with or loves me is now telling me it's okay to pick someone else.
Yeah. Well, and also because like after she gets back from the Harvard trip, he's like, oh my gosh, that chuppah is in your yard. Like, I'll come move it. And she's like, no, leave it.
But we never see it again. What happened to the chuppah?
Don't we? I thought we do.
Not for their wedding. At some point it disappears.
Wedding,
when is the last time we see the chuppah?
I'm going to do some research for our next episode.
I'm very upset. Well, because the next episode is going to be the episode.
Oh, yeah?
So we got to know what happens to the chuppah.
I'll look it up.
Because that was a big deal.
It was.
Luke hand carved a chuppah.
He hand carved a chuppah
from a picture he saw in a magazine.
Yeah.
I would question whether or not I wanted to marry Max too if somebody did that for me.
Seriously. And also, like, everything that, and this, we'll get into this more with Luke, but like everything that Luke does for her, like
everything.
Like, how can you not see it, Lorelai?
That's the thing though. There's no way Lorelai is that oblivious.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we did talk about how like Lorelai doesn't seem to notice. Like every man immediately that she's with pegs Luke as a competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember watching the very first episode that they're like in Stars Hollow and Max meets Luke and immediately they're like measuring each other up and kind of snipping at each other. And I think Rory and Dean were there or something was going on. And it was just like, everybody but Lorelai knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And she's just like, what's going on, guys? Come on, let's go. Like, Lorelai, no, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. The men are fighting over you right now.
Seriously, like, yardsticks are out being measured against each other.
Like, what is it about Luke that immediately puts Chris on edge and Max on edge and Digger on edge? Immediately.
Well, Digger was because he was driving really slow behind him, but...
Yeah, but Digger didn't know that.
But even then, like, does Digger meet Luke before the inn, like, actually in person?
I don't think he even knows much about Luke other than the coffee.
He doesn't, because when he sees Digger at the hotel, Digger introduces himself as Lorelai's boyfriend, and he is unaware of that.
But the question is, would Digger have introduced himself that way to anyone else? I think it's the Luke of it all.
I think it is the Luke of it all.
Because Max immediately, I mean, if we want to go with some wolf puns here, had his hackles up the minute he meets Luke.
Yes.
The minute he meets Luke, there's tension.
Yes.
Which to me means the writers were setting up the Luke thing all the way from the get-go.
I mean, they had to have been.
Which makes our theory about why they put Alex in the show, because who never meets Luke? Alex.
Yeah.
Who's never anywhere near Luke.
And who's actual competition for Luke? Alex. Because Alex is a coffee guy.
So I think our theory, I don't care if they are going to confirm it or not, it is now official canon, in my opinion.
Yep.
That Alex was a test run for if Luke and Lorelai would work.
Especially because, you know, they threw in Digger to distract us, and then they threw us Luke.
Yes.
That is Gilmore Gab headcanon.
It's official
Alex was the test run for Luke.
See, and what's funny is now I'm looking at this because this is all my like Max stuff. And I go 1,000 yellow daisies, assume it's 1,000 bundles, and it's like, did Luke intentionally sabotage Lorelai and Max's marriage? And now I'm remembering why I thought that, because like at some point when she brings up getting married to Luke and he's like, but you don't want this, or no, it's, have you talked about this? Have you talked about this? Have you talked about this? Which then gets mirrored when Max is like, I don't have a key. I'm not part of Rory's life. Like,
yeah.
But now I don't think Luke was trying to sabotage her. I think Luke was just like, you're kind of oblivious. Have you thought about this?
Yes.
And then Max brings it up too, which could have added to Lorelai being like, oh no, now I have Luke and Max telling me this. Nope, run away. Done.
I can see that. I can see her doing that 100%. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Random thought. So I've been doing the shimmying on TikTok to the remixed version of the song There She Goes. Isn't that song played early on in the season?
Yes, it is. Isn't it the opening song of the pilot?
I think so, or the closing song. But the reason it came to mind is because I was just thinking about how Lorelai runs away from Max and how many times Lorelai runs away and Rory runs away. There she goes. There she goes again.
Yep.
So that's the real theme song.
Yes.
Where you lead, I will follow, because there she goes running away again.
Yep. They both really good at it. But
thank you, Max, for that revelation.
Yes, thank you, Max. But then, like, also, like, Max comes back later in the series, right? Like several seasons later, because he came back for Chilton's bicentennial,
whatever. The big Chilton's been around for a really long time because it's an old rich school.
And she runs into him at the drugstore because she has a cold.
Yes,
because she's dating Digger. Or Alex. She's dating, or maybe she's in between them. I can't remember. Anyways, she's kind of seeing someone, and they see each other.
It's Alex, because Rory asks Lorelai when she finds out that Lorelai's run into Max, like, what about Alex?
Yes, and that's when they write Alex out.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes. Because I remember her talking to him, and I'm like, aren't you dating Alex? even though we haven't seen him for a hot minute, aren't you dating Alex?
And I love that they use Rory to bring that back up. Like,
yes.
Like Rory, who likes Max and would have liked Max as a stepdad, is still like, Mom, you are dating someone.
Yes, someone that she also likes.
Yeah.
Someone who's truthfully a better fit for her than Max Medina. Because, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know that Max would have been, like, granted, we just talked about how he wanted to be her stepdad and she wanted him to be her stepdad, but I don't know how he actually would have handled being her stepdad.
Well, I think Max and Lorelai are different in the same way to a point that, like, Lorelai and Digger were. Max comes from this and not that Lorelai's not smart, but Max is a Chilton guy.
Yeah.
He's, you know, that intellectual, Ivy League. And not that there is anything wrong with that, but we've already seen with Christopher and then with Digger that Lorelai is not an Ivy League wife.
Yeah.
Or a part of that life. She can be an Ivy League mom.
Yeah.
And she loves that for Rory, but that was never her life. And while I think Max would have been far better than the other options other than Luke, and Alex, I don't think that they were compatible lifestyles. I think Max would have let her live her very coffee, very junk food, very crazy life. But I don't think he would have been fully like satisfied and happy living the Stars Hollow life.
I don't think he would have.
And Lorelai didn't have it, like she had aspirations, but they weren't to go beyond the Stars Hollow life.
Her whole goal in life was to have an inn in Stars Hollow. She never wanted to leave.
And, you know, Max was on loan to colleges in California and doing big things. And there's nothing wrong with that. People can have different paths, but if you're going to marry someone, your paths have to be compatible. And I don't know that Lorelai could handle her husband being gone for months at a time on loan at a different school.
Yeah, and she would not have loved, like, she may have loved to go visit, but she would not have loved to go for that long, I don't think.
Well, especially finding out Jess is in California. She wouldn't want anywhere near California. And Max would be like, California is a big place. And she goes, not that big.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that conversation would go.
That's exactly how it would have gone down. But, like, her seeing him again later, because I think they kiss. And he's like, I'm still not over it. And then he, like, walks away.
But he also has a girlfriend.
Yeah, in California.
And that's why he's trying to keep furniture between them, because apparently Lorelai's a siren.
Yeah. For him, apparently.
But again, it's that awkward teen thing. Like, that's what I think is endearing about Max. That's why he's ranked higher, because he's sweet.
Yeah. He does pull out some grand gestures.
He does.
And he does try. And I think it would have been nice if they wanted to keep that character in to, like, see him fall in love with somebody else. Like, that would have been a
spin-off series.
Yeah. You know, when Jess went to California and they were supposed to do a spin-off series with Jess.
Yeah, well, there's a few issues. Namely, the actress who later becomes Nardini.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway.
That's a whole episode that you will hear about
these are
later.
all whole episodes. We say this every episode, but every character is going to be a whole episode.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yes.
And if they're not, they will share an episode.
They will appear in an episode because we want to talk about literally everybody. But like the Nardinis get their own episode. They have to. Anyway. Even if it's like both of them together.
Well, it almost has to be. But anyways,
regardless, we're back to Max. You know, I just think it's interesting that when they did bring him back, that they bring him back and then he kisses Lorelai and he's like, I'm still not over it. And then he just like walks away. And I'm like, sorry. But like, that's kind of Max though. That's kind of, that's Max in a nutshell.
I love those kind of moments though, like in a book, in a movie, that like all that build up, all that intensity, the kiss, and then it's just like, I'm still not over it. And it just walks away like, like it's really well done.
Yes.
So
bravo to the writers.
And again, like I said, I remember texting you when we started with Max and it's like, why aren't we Team Max? And then later I was like, oh, that's why we're not Team Max.
But like you usually do start out Team Max because like, even though he's a little pushy, because like, she's like, you're her teacher. I don't want to make her uncomfortable. And like, she sets up all these rules, even though he breaks all of them.
She lets him.
And it's, you know, it very much goes both ways with them. Like,
well, and Rory was a part of it too.
Yeah.
Because Rory's like, stop using me as an excuse. So, I mean, Rory was fine with it.
Yeah.
As long as she didn't kiss him on school grounds. Then she had some problems.
Yes. Thank you, Paris. Paris may need to be 2 episodes. I don't know.
She might. There's a lot.
Or one big episode. Bless her heart.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's the Chilton Paris. There's the Harvard or Yale Paris.
And there's
there is the Harvard Paris too.
Yes. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But anyways, Max Medina.
Yeah.
Something good about Max. You always ask me.
I was going to say something and then I forgot what it was. Oh, I was going to say the reason that you become not Team Max, at least for me, It's not anything Max actually does, though.
Mm.
It's the culmination of like what Luke does during the Max episodes.
Yeah.
And it's the realization that like they're just not meant for each other. It's never like anything Max specifically does that makes me not team Max.
It's kind of the culmination of everything.
It's just the reality that like they're not meant to be together.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already said a lot of great things about Max. Mm-hmm. I think everything about him is very endearing and very sweet. And I think that he and Lorelai just weren't meant to be together because they were too different. And I do think it was really crappy that Lorelai ran away and didn't say anything.
I think he deserved, and she even says that he deserved more than that.
Because she doesn't text him, call him, leave a voicemail, write a letter, send a carrier pigeon. She just says, we're leaving. And Rory's like, you're getting married. And she's like, we're leaving. And Rory's like, cool, bye.
Yeah. And then they just leave.
And nobody calls Max.
Yeah.
And then, but we call Suki, and Suki will tell the whole town, but never got to Luke, which apparently was a big deal. And it's just
wait.
She does later, but she's telling Lorelai on the phone, like, so I've told everyone in town except your grumpy friend. And she's like, you need to tell him.
Because doesn't he like offer everyone free coffee when he finds out? Because Luke was always endgame for Lorelai.
Of course. And that's part of why I thought he might have sabotaged it intentionally. But that's just, I think asking those questions is just who Luke is.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing when my husband gets a really fun idea and gets really excited about something. And I'm like, but have you thought about this, 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 and this? Like I'm a logistics girly. So, but yeah, I honestly, that whole thing is just, I can't believe Lorelai just, and so Max is like, what happened then? Did Suki call Max?
Yeah. Who broke the news to Max?
Or did Max show up where they're supposed to get married and nothing was there?
Yeah. And also like, did he freak out and like call the police? Because honestly, your fiance just freaking disappeared.
I think Max is too smart for that, though.
It's true.
I think if nobody had given him a heads up, which frankly, can we really believe Rory didn't? Can we really believe that she didn't say something to him?
How would she have, though? Like, did she have his cell phone number, or?
I don't see why she wouldn't.
Maybe.
Or like the school number for him, like his own office number, like, or like told Suki, like, please tell Max what's going on. Like took mom's phone and was like, I'm gonna call Suki, like as they're leaving, and like call Suki and just like, hey, so we're leaving. Call the person. Because like but I don't think Max is stupid enough to believe anything other than Lorelai ran away.
Yeah.
I think he knew, a part of him had to know that, like, especially when he proposed when they were fighting and Lorelai was trying to tell him we are just too different, because that's what they were fighting about.
Yeah.
So I think if nobody told him and he showed up and there was nothing there, I think he would have been like, not surprised.
Yeah.
Sad, but not surprised.
Yeah. His little Wolfie eyes would have been so sad.
It's so hard to feel for Wolfie, though, because that was so awkward to watch. But now I want to go watch 10th Kingdom again, just for the awkwardness of it all.
I have it if you need to borrow it.
It's on Prime too.
Yeah, so
that's where I watched it.
You've got a few ways to watch it.
Options.
I loved it when it came out, and so like
I loved it too.
Me and my best friend, we were hanging out at Christmas time, and then we went into a DVD store, so that was when DVDs were big, and we both were like, I'm gonna go buy you a Christmas present, and we both went in, and then we both walked out, and we handed each other the present, and we both bought each other 10th Kingdom.
That's awesome. We're like, you got a physical copy. Yeah. I thought you had a Plex copy.
I had a digital copy also. Well, because I converted everything digital.
Yes,
but yeah, I have the physical DVDs. They're in that room over there.
Cool.
In case you need them.
Yeah.
You want to go old school and watch a DVD.
Yeah, I'd have to put it in like the PlayStation though, because who's got DVD players anymore?
That's why I have an Xbox, literally just to watch movies.
And
well, now I have
games,
played. But for 2 years that I owned that Xbox, it did nothing but play 2 DVDs over the course of 2 years. And I did not play either of those DVDs.
Oh, yeah. All right, what's your good thing about Max?
Okay, I do like his sentimentality. Like the daisies is a very cute thing. And I like that he actually tried and put in effort. Because like he wasn't the worst, you know. There are some very good things about him. And I like that even after he went to California, he still, you know, he's like, there still was something for Lorelai there. Even after she destroyed him in that way. Like, yeah, there was still something there endearing about her to him.
Do you think the reason, like, I get not getting over it because he clearly loved her, but do you think the reason that there was still something there is because he knew or had a feeling that her running away from him didn't really have anything to do with him and more to do with her? Because that's really what it was. It was it always had something to do with her.
It's true. It's true. And I can totally see that. I definitely can see that. And I think that's also partly why, like, I don't hate Max.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't hate him at all. I like him. I just don't like him for Lorelai.
Right. Well, because if you think about all of the men, not including Luke, I keep having to quantify or qualify that, but like anytime something went back and forth with Christopher, he was always at her about it. Oh, now you want me. Oh, now you don't. Like always arguing about it. Digger was always pushy and fighting. You know, not Alex also, I guess.
Yeah.
We just have the three men. And like of all her relationships where people, even sometimes with Luke, it was like a kind of push me, pull me. And Max was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
But like if you come back, cool. But like
he was willing to move from Hartford to Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
When he worked in Hartford.
Yeah.
He was willing to move a half hour away to live in her house with her 2-bedroom, 2-story house that we were talking about earlier this week. Not on the podcast. But like he was willing to upend his life for her.
Yeah. And then nobody's really been willing to do that for her. Because like Christopher in the end was willing to move in there, but like kept trying to change stuff.
Yeah. Change everything.
And like Digger can't even sleep in the same room with her. You know? And the thing too, I think the difference there when it came to like Luke and Max as like comparison is even though Lorelai kind of was like, you don't get to have a say in how I raise my kid, Lorelai's logic then was like, oh, she's 16, like it's done.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to the Luke thing, like Luke's been a part of her life the whole time, but then Luke throws the, well, this is my kid, you can't, and like how she reacts to that, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how Max was like, well, I just don't really understand. Like he was never mad about her compartmentalizing. He was more just frustrated that he didn't know where he stood.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't have a say in her life. So what am I supposed to do? Nothing? Okay, but what if you're not home?
Yeah.
You know,
all of his points are valid. Honestly, none of them are out of line for like a fiance, especially like a week before the wedding. Like, honestly, they should have figured these things out long before they did.
Yes.
And so like, he's completely valid in bringing these things up.
And I think Lorelai was avoiding it because it was going to make her realize how big of the decision she was making.
Yes.
And when Luke pointed it out and then Max is asking these questions, again, I think it was all Lorelai just freaking herself out. And again, like I don't think Max was trying to be contentious about it at all. It was just like, I just need to understand where I stand.
What is my place in your life?
But he wasn't trying to force it either. Whereas like Christopher was always trying to force it. Like, I'm Rory's dad. And it's like, yeah, well, you haven't been much of a dad, but I still deserve a place. And like push.
Yeah.
And then Digger was just a jerk about suing her family. And that was, but still felt entitled to her relationship status.
Yes.
Bro, you can't even share REM cycles with me. Go away.
Seriously. What is wrong with him?
I challenge our listeners to, if you truly don't like Max Medina because of Max Medina, tell us why.
Seriously.
Because I'm really struggling to be like, I hate Max because Max is awful. It's more like, he wasn't right for Lorelai, like you said.
And he was a little pushy in some areas.
Yeah.
Like the whole marriage idea, that was a little pushy, but also I think like you were saying, you know, his relationships were not mature relationships. And so now he and Lorelai are both trying to figure out this mature relationship, but neither of them are fully equipped to do that at that time because neither of them have the experience.
No. Yeah. And I think too, even there is a fine line. And in 2025, it's risky saying this. There is a fine line between taking no for an answer and being persistent.
Yeah.
And in Max Medina's case, it was I really like you. You're not giving me like a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to say it like in today's like environment of like the Me Too movement and like kind of like people should take no for an answer. But Lorelai never said no. She was just like, but my daughter's in your class. Okay, so let's make sure Rory's okay with it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and he was just basically every time Lorelai was making an excuse, not saying no, he was like, okay, well, let's figure it out. And to me, it's nice to know that somebody likes you enough to want to figure things out. But we're not advocating for being pushy and persistent in that way. Like I just really need to, it's so hard to say things anymore because you never know how it's going to be taken. But in the case of Max, it was, she never said, no, I cannot date you. I will not date you. She never told him to go away. She never told him to stop. She always agreed to like meet him. Like, oh, I get coffee at this time at this coffee shop if you happen to be there, which is very much an open invitation.
Yes.
And he was, again, if she had flat out said no, I think he would have.
I think he would have too.
I mean, the fact that she ran away from him and he did not make contact with her.
Yeah.
Until Rory came into his classroom and he was just like, hey, how's your mom?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry if it's awkward. We don't have to talk about it. So that's like a full, 3 months?
Yeah.
Or more?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't for a second think that Max wouldn't know how to take no for an answer.
It's true. Because he heard that no loud and clear when it came.
And so, but I think that for him, yeah, he was pushy, but it was like, I really like you. And until you fully tell me no, instead of hinting at where we can meet and kind of stringing me along, I'm going to continue to try because I genuinely like you. And I think a lot of girls would appreciate a guy who likes them to actually try, because we are pulling our own weight these days.
It's true.
To like, I mean, I pursued my husband. I initiated that entire thing because I was so sick and tired of guys not getting it and me having to do the work anyway. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to get what I want.
Well, it's like we've talked about this before, just in general, like, because I'm single and it's very much like I would love a relationship, but also like, I'm not looking for someone I have to babysit. I want a partner. I want someone who's going to carry the weight with me. Like, I know what I want out of this life. And like, I want someone that wants that too and is willing to work for it.
Yes.
But I feel like so many of like the men that I meet are not willing to put in the effort or don't see the world the way that I see the world in a way that I need them to. And so, you know, I think in a world where honestly it's hard to like find someone like that, you know, I think in this case it very much was Max did put in all of his effort and he definitely like was not one of those slacker guys. Like, he was willing to fight and he was willing to put in the effort and the work for it, but it just wasn't a good fit.
Right. Well, and this is a good example too of like, you know, talking about like the current environment because, you know, we're, I guess, late 30s.
Sure. We can go with
That's a nice way to say it. And for, you know, in your example of being single, you not only do you want that equal partner, but you're a Hallmark girly.
It's true. I am.
A little romance is not too much to ask for. And the men these days
seriously
don't understand that. And that's kind of the appeal of Max there was he was in his own weird way, like trying to romance.
He was a little bit of a Hallmark guy. True.
So I just, and romance is dead these days. And that's an inside joke.
Yes.
But it is.
But it is dead.
And it's sad. And I don't know, because like, I love my husband. But any sort of spontaneity or like thoughtful romance just isn't in his wheelhouse. But I knew that. Like it stems from just kind of how he grew up and just the examples that he had. Whereas I grew up with Hallmark and fairy tales and princess stories, right?
Yeah.
So I've curbed my expectations. I know what my husband can do and is capable of, and I've learned to look for, you know, the loving things in the little things.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he knows that if my water cup is not upstairs for me in the morning, then I will not take the vitamin D and thyroid medication I'm supposed to take every morning because I don't like to drink the bathroom sink water with my pills. And so there was one night where he filled up my cup exactly how I like it and brought it upstairs to make sure that I would take my pills in the morning.
Oh,
that's granted, we've been together 12 years, but like those are those little love romance moments because now it's like he knows me. And I think that's what romance boils down to is at first you're romancing to get to know someone, but then romance becomes I know you.
Well, it's like I was listening to like a TikTok a few weeks ago where it's like it was a guy talking about he was responding to a video of a guy that like had gotten broken up by a girl and he's like, was there another guy? Like, what could I have done better than that guy? And the guy responding to that was like, it's not another guy. With most women, it's you're fighting against her free time, because if she's not in a relationship, then she's improving herself. She's reading on her own. She's having a girls' night. Like, she's fine. She doesn't need you. You need to prove why you need her, which is why I like Max Medina. He lets you know why you need him in your life.
Well, and exactly. And it comes down to like, he was still in the stage with her of getting to know her and the romance there. But the minute she said, that's not what a proposal is 1,000 yellow daisies. Boom, 1,000 yellow daisies.
Yeah.
And you saw her reaction.
Yes.
Where it didn't matter that she had to tell him. It's he listened.
And also I actually really love that he wasn't there. when she got them. Like he let the gesture be the gesture. And he wasn't even there to see her reaction because he knew that's what she wanted, and he didn't need to see the reaction to know that he was going to get that.
Well, also we genuinely deserved Michelle's reaction to that, and wasn't Kirk the one delivering the flowers?
Yes.
So I mean, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
And the whole time they're freaking out, and she's just like sitting among the yellow daisies
because she knew exactly what it was. Like he didn't have to say a word.
No, and that's another reason, like Max Medina is like the Gilmore Girls Hallmark guy.
Yes, he is.
He is goals. Now, granted, Luke also made her a huppah, which is another Hallmark guy goals.
Yes.
And
he wears plaid.
And Luke has done a lot of things for Lorelai. But like, I'm trying to reflect on their sort of proposal situation.
Luke's
and I do remember like the really sweet, romantic, endearing moment was like the restaurant with the
I'm all in.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. But like the Thousand Yellow Daisies.
Like here's the thing. Here's the thing about a grand gesture, a wanted grand gesture. Because, like, listen, I've read a lot of books, especially lately, that are all Hallmarky rom-coms. And, like 5 to 7 a week for the last month. I've read a lot.
She's been busy.
And like, I love them, but it's like, there's a difference between a grand gesture for the guy to get the bonus points and the grand gesture for her in mind, right? Like, and like the grand gesture doesn't necessarily have to involve a lot of people. Like sometimes it's the like planning her favorite, like taking her to her favorite spot to watch a sunset together, and you've like brought dinner and like you've planned it out. Like
it's the thought.
That's a grand gesture because you put in the thought, you knew what she wanted and you gave it to her without her asking for it or expecting it.
Yeah, and someone who grew up with this like I can't think of the word. I want to say grandized, but that feels like the wrong word. But like this exaggerated idea of what like the spontaneous romance and those grand gestures are, and glamorized.
Yes.
Idea that it was really kind of hard to transition into my relationship with a guy which I've never dated a guy that had those abilities, but like with my husband, it was one of those things where it's like, that's just not his love language, and that's not something, and it's not intentional. Other guys, it was just intentionally obtuse. But with him, it's like, I've always been like, I don't want to have to tell him what I want. But then like Max Medina and Lorelai are a great example of sometimes you do got to tell them, and it doesn't diminish it when they do it.
Yeah.
If when you told them, it wasn't like the 18th time you've told them.
Yeah.
And now, like when we had a kid and things like Mother's Day would come up or my birthday or whatever, I've reached this point where it's like, I've never been a big fan of like being bought things and like gifts, especially as a romantic gesture. I'm not a big fan of flowers. But like, that's the thing my husband was able to do. Yeah. And I always felt bad because I was like, that's nice, but I'm not a cliche person either. So, but when we had our daughter, my big thing was like, I don't want you to take her to the store and have her pick something out for me. I mean, at Christmas, now that she's older, because she does like to shop, that's different. But I was like, I would rather you two sit down and have her make me something.
Yeah.
And so for the last 2 Mother's Days, I have gotten handmade paper sunflowers because sunflowers are my favorite. And my little one has been the one to cut out the petals and glue things together. Precious. And the first year that they did it, it was his idea. And then I homeschool. And so we've talked about for the month of May, like Mother's Day and stuff. So she was already in her head about it. And so then I guess they had a big old secret about doing it, and they did it one night that I was here with you.
Yeah.
And she almost let the secret slip the next day because we were cutting something out, and she goes, yeah. And then that's a secret.
Oh my gosh. I know your daughter, and that's so, I can see her doing that.
She's like, don't tell Daddy I told you. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so it was a few days after Mother's Day, but then because he wanted to be home with her, and so then they went, she had hid it, and they went and got it, and it was another little sunflower. That is the cutest
grand gesture, honestly.
Right? And it's just little things. It's why, like, for our friends who have a little one for Christmas, because I watch him, and so for Christmas, I had him do a handprint ornament for them because it's those little things, especially because when you're in a family, like, yes, your relationship is super important, but like that kid becomes a big, big thing.
Yeah.
And so, and now I just wish that, like, my problem is both my husband and I have bad ADHD. And while my husband has a memory, like a lockbox for like video games and his special interests, things about me and his daughter and his friends kind of trickle through. And so he doesn't always remember everything. And that can get frustrating sometimes because I remember everything because I'm very service and gift giving oriented is my love language. And so I'm always like, I know Susie's favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
And I
very
plan
much the same.
I plan the gifts accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't remember, I make lists of them because, and it's not even to get praise. It's because I love seeing people's reaction.
Yeah. Because I want to do something nice for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, look, if you are somebody who likes acts of love or acts of service and gifts as your love language, I'm not saying go have a kid for this, but like do something for a kid. Because like I just redid my daughter's room per her request, and it was finished and she wanted to run and go see it. I was like, no, wait, I have to be up there first because I need to see her face. Yeah. And she's the kind of kid where it's all on her face. And she walks in and her jaw drops, eyes wide, and she goes, "It is my most favorite thing ever." Made my day, because some of that was such a pain in the butt. And there were times when I was like cursing and like, I hate this. Yeah. It's like, no, I love this. Yeah. All because she loved it. Yeah. You know, and so sometimes I'd just be like, look, I'll make you the list, husband, but I can't remember the list for you. You know,
but I think also part of it's just like being seen, like, because, you know, as a mom, as a wife, sometimes just as being a woman, you become invisible to a lot of things. And I think it's the being seen sometimes is the grand gesture of it all too.
And now we're going to try and circle it back because we got really not on topic.
Max and grand gestures. We've stayed on topic.
Sure. But I think that's why Lorelai was like jumped on board with the proposal with those 1,000 Yellow Daisies, because I think that's the first time in her awake memory, her conscious memory, because we noticed she's a little oblivious. Yeah. That she felt seen and heard. Because growing up with the Gilmores, she never felt seen and heard. Christopher, you know, and you know, she lives in Stars Hollow, where a lot of people just talk over her, kind of just see her as the quirky girl who runs the inn. And she doesn't pay attention to the fact that Luke sees her. Yeah. And she'll list off all the things he does, but it's always like in relation to her kid or like other things. And so I think that was the first time that her eyes were open to somebody heard me, somebody saw me and listened and did this for me. Yeah. Because they love me, not because they love my kid, not because they know my parents, because they love me. Yeah. And because that's
they
huge.
See me.
And I think that's part of why she kind of didn't think about all the logistics of marrying Max. She was just like, nope, that's done. So easy to please women. I don't know why men act like it's so hard.
100%. 100%.
Anyway.
Well, and on that note, so Max Medina, right in the middle. Yeah. And now we've talked about Alex already.
Yes, and because we had to fill the Digger episode.
Yes. And Alex, man, Alex
was Luke light.
Yes. And so next time we're at like one of our big guns coming out next time, Luke.
And it's the last of the Lorelais, and then we get to jump into the Rorys. Yeah. Which I have been waiting for. A very specific episode.
I'm a little nervous about that one. But that is a hill I will die on. So
you know, I had to take notes. We'll have to talk about it then. But so that's Max Medina. Yeah. Wolfie. Yep. And next week, as we said, we'll talk about Luke. Yep. And that's it for the Gilmore Gab.
You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you next time.
I like how we say next week, knowing full well these episodes come out every other week.
And that we don't record them once a week either.
No, we record them every other week. A peek behind the curtain.
All right. See you next time. Bye. The Gilmore Gab is created and produced by Rachel Llewellyn and Susie Carmichael. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Follow us on Instagram at Gilmore Gab Podcast and sign up for our newsletter on Substack. You can also subscribe to our paid Substack for early access to new episodes and exclusive content. The Gilmore Girls show and characters are the exclusive property of Warner Brothers Entertainment. Warner Brothers Entertainment is not affiliated with, nor does it endorse the Gilmore Gab Podcast.